Hello again, Dan here. Welcome back to Vinyl Fury and a few more records to show while I've been sitting here today. All right, here we go. So, this was a surprise. I went to the record store the other day for the first time in a while, and it'd been a while since I've been at this particular record store, especially. And I was looking around for a while. I It seemed like I wasn't going to walk away with anything. And then I'd found a few like Wyndham Hills style records in the easy listening section that I went ahead and picked up, and I'll be showing later. And then I looked at the recent arrivals before I left, and this is a chain of stores locally called Everyday Music. There used to be one in Beaverton, which is a suburb of Portland, that I would go to, and I found several like grails there. It was really amazing. Every once in a while, I would just find something that I was totally surprised to find, and that was great. But usually, there things are too expensive, um, and almost every time I go there looking for something, they never have it. So it's rare that I walk away from everyday music thinking, "Wow, I'm really glad I went." This was one of those actually. So I was flipping through the new arrivals in the used section and came across this, which is the debut album from Fuel, at least the major label debut. They might have had an independent something before this. This came out in '98, so I was 15, and for a major label, like there's several big rock singles on the radio from this at the time. It's a great album, I think. I still really enjoy it. Even the single Shimmer, which was played to death, I still enjoy listening to it. But there's even some much heavier, like heavy rock songs. Really great guitar tone. It's mixed by Tom Lord Alge, who is responsible for the sound of several like late '90s, early 2000s rock records that I would say are memorable in their sound. And so the cover is pretty beat, and it's a cut promo. But the vinyl was in pretty decent shape. I mean, it was more than $30, but I've never seen an original pressing, which this is, for cheaper than 50, usually more than that. And it was reissued within the last couple of years by a label I've never heard of. And it's a double LP. This is a single, but it was something like $30. And I guess it's weird. Like I didn't feel like paying for that. But when I came across this, especially because I've never seen it before, and there's no way I would get it for this kind of price. I just felt like I had to do it, and it sounds better than I expected, even for something from the late '90s. So I'm really glad that I got it. It was it was nice to have that moment of finding something that you just were not expecting. Haven't had that in quite a while, so that was really cool. So this is something that I've wanted to get for years, actually, and I don't remember if I bought the one of the 10-inch pressings from years ago and returned it like I did Kid A. I might not have because I think I bought Kid A, didn't like that version, and so I never did get this. But this is Amnesiac, which came out a year later, and there's been the 10-inch pressing, and then it switched to a 12-inch, but some were made by Capitol, and some were made by Parlophone, and for a while there was different records in the jackets of the Capitol ones, and eventually it evened out so that Amnesiac is now the 12-inch version from XL, and is generally thought to be pretty good, and it is. So I finally found it for a price that seemed worth it to give it a try, and this is a really great album, and this version of it does sound really good to me. gatefold jacket, as well as printed inner sleeves. But it sounded good. Really no complaints here. So finally have that in the collection. And then this is something that I've wanted to have on vinyl as long as I've been collecting records, which is over 10 years now. And it took a long time for it to finally come to be. It's one of those ones that I dreamed about, having my own record label and putting out myself. So this is the last album, unfortunately, from Code 7, which is a band that I really, really love. This is Dancing Echoes, Dead Sounds. And this came out in 2004. And this is the first vinyl pressing. And it does have a printed inner sleeve as well. And this is the orange and purple version that I opted for. I believe this was done at Pirates Press. And I was skeptical, and I wasn't sure that this was going to be worth getting. But it sounded good. It sounded smooth. It sounded... You know, I think the thought that I had was they didn't fuck it up. And it's really all I was hoping for. I love this record, and it's really nice to see it in this form. Code 7 is... They started off as like a post-hardcore kind of... Early on, they were kind of screamo. And they evolved into a more space rock kind of sound. And this was even more in that direction. There's some really beautiful melodies. It's a great album. Check it out. There's another version on purple with white, I believe it was. And they printed, I can't remember if it's 500 in total or 500 of each. I'll clarify that. But I believe they're sold out. So we'll see if Equal Vision does a repress. But if you've never heard the record at all, check it out. Lastly, for the hell of it, another new release is from Washed Out. And I got this one on cassette. So, there's a purple cassette. I ordered this from Bandcamp. And it came with a high-res download. And this was like $10. So I opted for this instead of getting it on vinyl. As I said, there are other options, and sometimes it really just feels better. $10 to get a tape, something physical. That sounds pretty good. And a high-res digital download. That sounds great. That seemed like a better option for me. It's a great record. Definitely more of a return. They went back to Sub Pop and kind of leaned back into that Within Without era sound. Even though I liked Mr. Mellow, I thought that was a great record. It was definitely pushing some of their sounds. But this is Purple Noon, and if you like that era of Washed Out, there's nothing disappointing here. But I'm glad I went with the tape. And I have, a few more CDs and tapes that I'll show in the future. I'm going to leave some things that I have for another video another time. So it's been good to do this again. By the time this one comes out, I think we'll be seeing where our future lies for the next 4 years, and especially the next 6 months to a year. And so I'm really just hoping for the best, I hope that you're doing as well as you can be. And until next time, take care and enjoy your music.